I made it. I
Thank you
made
so
it.
much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm extremely pregnant right now. I could go into labor at any moment. So,
Are you 9 months
until you
pregnant?
know, I am in my birth window. Yeah.
Yo! Is this your first child?
No, it's my second. So I hope it's just gonna slide out.
I think it
That's
it should, right? I mean, that's what happened with my wife.
did it?
The second one came out so fast, she almost gave birth on the toilet.
See, I need all those vibes.
But it was
That's
good.
just
Dude, I don't know if you know, but I drove my wife to the hospital.
okay.
At the minute she started having contractions, it was like COVID was happening, a bigger deal at the time. I went and parked the car. It was the middle of the night. And then I had to do a COVID test and wait for 15 minutes for the. So by the time I went up there, the baby was already born.
Wait, you didn't even see the birth
No,
happen?
I missed the whole fucking birth.
That's incredible though for her.
Yeah. So
Not
hopefully
really for you, but
well, it's okay. You know what I mean? I've seen it once before. What could be the difference?
yeah, one is enough, honestly. It's a really intense experience. I had a home birth with
Oh, yeah?
no medication.
Oh, my God.
So, and I'm doing it again, which I don't know why I'm doing that again, but I'm just going for it at
Well,
this
you know
point.
what you're getting yourself into. So,
I do.
yeah.
I do. I definitely do.
Well, I hope you have an easy birth and a beautiful, happy, healthy baby.
Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate that. I really
So,
appreciate
as before we get started here, I wanted to ask you. Oh, let me introduce you a little bit. So, Alexa Nikolas,
it.
we talked about it a bit. You were um an actor, a child actor on Zoey
Yeah,
101. Is that right?
that is sadly correct.
Sadly correct. And
Yeah.
so you had lots of experience with creepy men on set
Yes,
and
I did.
off set.
Yes, I did.
And so I wanted to ask you about those. One question I wanted to ask you from the beginning, though, is have you ever got any legal threats from any of these people that you've talked about?
No,
That is
no,
interesting. Is that something you're
honestly,
afraid of happening? Because
no, no. I say the truth about everything, and I've just, it's never happened. So I don't have any fear around it. The last time I dealt with a lawyer, I ended up uncovering a really bad past of his, honestly. And so
hmm.
that kind of changed everything. And he ended up just not even deposing me after I found out about his past. So, no, I'm not really afraid of lawyers, to be quite honest with you.
Well, you know what the ultimate truth, the ultimate defense to defamation is?
Facts?
Truth. Yeah, exactly. The truth.
Yeah,
Okay, well,
actually, my kid's name is Truth. I'm naming my kid
ah,
Truth.
what are
It's
your other
fitting.
kids' names? Are your other kids'
Nova,
name? Nova?
Nova and Truth. Girl
Beautiful.
and a boy. I'm done after
Lovely,
this. I'm,
lovely, beautiful.
thank you.
We're hopefully going to be having a third boy soon, which is
Are you serious?
pretty crazy. Yeah.
Oh my God,
So
congratulations.
we don't know yet. My
Okay.
wife went in for the IVF
Yeah.
insertion last Friday, so we'll see. But we'll see.
That's
Danny,
so well,
so
congratulations.
tell me, how old were you, and when did you start working on Zoe 101?
Okay, so I was about 12 years old when I started working on Zoey 101, but I was a child actor before that. I started acting when I was around 3 years old.
Okay, so was
So,
Zoe 101 the first time you encountered some problems, issues, weird
yes,
stuff? Okay.
yes, definitely. I didn't experience anyone quite like Dan um, until Dan,
Right.
you
And
know.
I didn't watch the Zoe 101, but it was a popular show, right? It was on
It was a
Nickelodeon.
very popular show. Honestly, apparently we would get like 10 million viewers,
Holy
and then the
crap.
reruns would have just as many viewers as like the air dates. It was a
That's
really big.
enormous.
It was
And
enormous.
and you were on the first two seasons, is that right?
I was, yeah.
Okay. And
You're getting
so
them all right. You're getting all of these.
okay, good. Well, I'm good.
You're
We're
doing good.
on
You're
the
doing
same
really
page.
well.
Okay, good.
Yes, we're on the same page.
So Dan Schneider was the I guess the writer director of that show, and he now has been exposed as being an extremely creepy dude.
Extremely.
And so I'm curious about your experiences with him on set.
Yeah, well, I've been I guess people could say I've been pretty honest and have said a lot about my experiences on set with him. I never really experienced anything to me. It was more things that I witnessed, and then obviously the wardrobe fitting situation and the goo pop, the green goo pop, and things like that.
Okay,
And then
okay, so what was the wardrobe situation
he would be in the wardrobe fittings.
with all
Um,
the young girls
it
changing?
was just me. I don't know.
Oh,
I
okay.
honestly don't know because like wardrobe fittings, you would just be one on one with like the wardrobe person and then Dan in this situation. But it was like a small trailer and it would just be like a little curtain
Hmm.
and he would just always be on the other side, like to the point where I would hear the chair like creaking if he even breathed, basically when I was on the other side. And now looking back at that, it doesn't seem right because I never experienced that ever again. That was only a Dan experience.
Yeah, I can't imagine what valuable input he would have. Did he ever give input on the outfits, or was he just sitting there?
He would give inputs. No, he would give and he would also want the Polaroids.
Oh, that's foul. That's foul.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he took the Polaroids after.
That's a problem. And then
Yeah,
what
it's
was
pretty
you talked
problematic.
about the goo? What about the goo thing?
Oh, God, man, this is just that's how this Business Insider article literally started with what I said about the goo. I don't even think I can say this on YouTube, honestly. But basically, there was an episode where I was supposed to be trying to open this goo pop and I couldn't open it. And then at some point, it opens and it lands on Zoe's face. And instead of just having like it naturally happen and have it land wherever, they ended up having like the prop person, the art prop, I don't know, our production person end up getting a syringe and aiming it in a very specific place that Dan wanted. And if you look back at that footage, it doesn't sit right. Um, and after landed on her face, I mean, there was an uproar of laughter. All the guys and boys were laughing. And then I ended up hearing one of the boys actually say what it reminded him of. And at that point, I didn't even know what the hell that even meant. So I was just trying to like, I guess, smile along and no idea what was going on. And then watched it later on in my life and was like, oh, that's why they were laughing hysterically. And oh, this was an adult joke exploitation happening to a minor at the time on set.
I I haven't seen the clip, but I have it. Is it okay if I pull it up?
Sure.
I'll watch it first, and then I'll see if I think it's appropriate to show the people. Let's see.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
Oh, I mean, I think it's fine to show.
Okay.
Oh, you think you're worried about claims? I mean, it's so short. Golly, that'd be crazy if it got claimed. I mean, here it is.
This also happened in Victorious. They had like
Oh,
the
his
scene
other
just like this, but
show.
it was with lotion. Like a teacher was like
What?
hitting a lotion bottle and it went on Trina's like face.
And that was one of his other shows,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It was his later show.
Oh, he does this kind of stuff a
Yeah.
lot.
So, can you pull that clip? I'd be
I
curious.
think,
So
yeah,
here,
for
here
sure.
it is, and
All the clips.
here it is. Don't people are saying don't play? I mean, it's fine. It's safe for work. 10 million kids saw it, apparently.
10 million.
It out like that. All I do is squeeze a little like this.
And so he was very specific about how that shot was going to be done.
Yes. Yes. And the sad part is like all the adults were laughing along with him and there's just a child there not really understanding. Like you can even see on her face like she's trying to like understand why she should be laughing too,
That's
maybe.
so that's so
Yeah.
wild.
It's pretty wild.
So it one thing that strikes me about the Dan Schneider thing is like there must have been other adults on set that
Hmm.
knew that he was doing inappropriate things. And right? You as an
Yes.
adult looking back, it must feel like that.
Yes. I mean, if I saw half of the shit that was going on set now, like at 31, I mean, I would be walking off of set, to be quite honest with you. I mean, it was so inappropriate at times. You're just like,
But no one ever
why
said
did
anything, huh?
no one? No,
Right.
this guy would literally be like requesting massages from the wardrobe women,
Ay, ay,
and he'd
ay.
just be in this tent, like, sweating, getting massages from the women on set. It was just crazy.
That was back during the days when Harvey Weinstein and all these big time Hollywood people could just they
Yeah,
felt untouchable, right? I mean, he was huge in the Nickelodeon empire.
completely. I mean, apparently there was even a lawsuit, I think, allegedly, during the Amanda Bynes show where, he was doing just that. And someone literally sued the whole situation. And, 20 years later, he was still doing it. It just goes to show
Oh
you
wow.
that the networks are just as, complicit in these predatory men behavior types.
Right.
Unfortunately,
Eh, eh,
I don't think these predators would survive, honestly, if it wasn't for the protection, these like enablers around them, powerful enablers.
100%. I think when we look back on all these powerful men that fell, a lot of
Yeah,
them were, yeah, just being totally protected by the network because they were making them a ton of money. They were burying accusations, they were burying lawsuits, settling lawsuits. They knew that these dudes were scum.
they had it in the budget. They would
Oh
actually
shit.
have it in the budget to, like,
Wow.
for hush hush money,
Wow.
etc. Like, I mean, there's even a situation where WMG was like literally in mentioned in the NDAs, and you're just like, that's just doesn't sit right with me, you know?
Here is the wholesome and super not creepy Dan
Oh,
Schneider.
Lord. I mean, every image of him, honestly, sadly, is just that. It's pretty, there's no like normal photo of him. I guess New York Times tried to do like a whole spread of him where he was trying to look normal and whatever, but even him normal was
This
awkward.
this is as normal as I can find him.
Oh, God. Why is he always doing like a choke hold with
Right. He's holding her
shoulder?
so tight. Like loosen the
No,
grip on her.
why? Yeah, like,
Yeah.
why do you need to hold, like, why let go? She also, you can tell she wants him kind of to let go. You know what
And
I
then
mean?
so here's the other one. And I'm guys, if you don't want to watch it, just look away. I'm gonna open the lotion
I don't
one.
even, I've never seen this one,
So
so
to me, I kind of want to know the context of everything. I think but again, if you don't want to watch it, I'm about to show it now. So fair warning. This
okay.
is from Victorious.
What the fuck?
Was that it? That was it, huh?
He does it more.
He does it more.
No, he doesn't.
He goes in for another one.
She just has the lotion on her face.
Oh, there was no need for that. Oh, that's fucked up. That's so foul, dude.
Yo, it's like Danny Elfman's situation. Have you heard about Danny Elfman?
No.
Apparently, he like sent allegedly bodily fluids in a cup to someone who was working for him, and his defense right now is that it was Cetaphil.
What is he? I'm looking up. I'm trying to
This
read.
is
Oh,
Halloween.
Oingo Boingo.
Yeah,
He's the
he's
Oingo Boingo guy.
Jack. Dude, he's Nightmare whatever before Christmas.
So he sent someone a cut. Okay. All right, Danny.
Yeah, these I know, Danny Elfman, and he's also allegedly an elf man, literally.
Which
I mean, if you look
I
at
don't
his
believe that
face.
for a second. So Dan Schneider eventually as these rumors started to circulate, I guess Nickelodeon was forced to fire him, and he's been disgraced, right?
No one can find him. I
Really?
mean, he's gone missing, man. I haven't heard from him. No one's heard from him.
Huh.
Some guy who I don't know, Steve something Hicks, who apparently was a former president at Nickelodeon, made some kind of defense statement for him that was just creepy and weird. But Dan Schneider's just honestly nowhere to be found.
I hate to say it, but I know where he is.
Where?
He's got to be in Thailand or Southeast Asia somewhere where he can act out his sick fucking fantasies.
Oh my
That's
God.
literally where every old creepy white dude moves.
It's true, actually. When I went to Thailand, it was pretty wild how many like German and random just white dudes
I saw
are
that.
there.
Me and Ela went there a while
Uh-huh.
ago, walking through Bangkok. So many
Uh-huh.
old white dudes cruising by themselves,
Yes. Yes.
and they
Of
look
course they're by
like,
themselves.
and they look like they fit you know what I mean? I don't know what a P word necessarily looks like, but if I had to
But it's
choose,
them.
yeah, but it is them. They look just like that.
I know exactly. I experienced the same thing when I went to Thailand as well.
So he's
I'm
there.
sure Dan's just fitting in.
Yeah, he's there. He fits perfect.
He's
So, was there anything else that happened on set? I didn't hit. I don't know much about it. I'm interested.
um I mean, honestly, it was more also what happened afterwards. After I was working for Nickelodeon, when I saw a clip of Ariana Grande
Hmm.
that Dan Schneider allegedly filmed and created, and it was just so out of line, and that's actually what triggered a lot of my memories. Like, you just kind of block that stuff out when you're a kid. I think like you're just he was such an abusive person too. Like, I don't know if you heard, but that's why I left Nickelodeon, was because of his verbal abuse and what was kind of happening
Really?
on.
To kids?
Yeah, yeah.
What kind of stuff would he tell you?
Well, he just ended up bringing me into a room at Nickelodeon and just like degrading me and saying that the show wasn't called Zoey 101. I mean, it was called Zoey 101. It wasn't called Nicole 101. It was called Zoey 101. And I need to know basically my place here. Um, and it was just a very traumatic experience. I was crying in the chair, and it was like the last time that I could honestly deal with that type of situation with him in that set environment. And after that, I just ran out, like, crying to my mom, and I was like, I never want to see these people again. And she took me right out of there.
Wow,
And
good
we
for you.
basically, thank you. Yeah, thanks to my mom,
That's pretty
honestly.
mature for a kid to come. I feel like to come to that conclusion.
Yes. I mean, I got put through the ringer on that show. It was a pretty bad um 3 years, I would
Really?
say, of
Wow.
my life. Yeah, Jamie Lynn Spears was just created a very toxic, unhealthy work environment.
So I
And
want to ask you about the Jamie Spears thing, but when you were in the office with Dan, was it just the two of you?
it wasn't. It was actually a whole bunch of other execs at Nickelodeon. And that's why I ended up
What?
protesting Nickelodeon. Oh, yeah. It was like 5 adults.
Was there anyone advocating for you in there, or was it just you?
No, it was just
What?
me. So first they had my mom in there. And then I was very upset, obviously. And they said, like, maybe it's best if we just have like a one-on-one conversation with Alexa. Hear what's actually happening. Maybe she'll feel more
Oh,
comfortable or whatever. Oh, yeah, super manipulative.
dude.
My mom calls the agent, like my agent, and she's like, well, Alexa goes in for auditions all the time, anyways, alone. Like what bad could happen? So I end up going in there alone, and that's when he really just went to town on little version of me.
That is so sad. I feel like on set, maybe I'm being optimistic, but I'd be
Yeah.
surprised to see kind of that stuff happening. Like a little girl going in the room by herself with a bunch of
Yeah.
executives to get grilled. I mean, it sounds so fucked up.
It honestly was. That's why, I mean, I'm never putting obviously my child in the entertainment industry.
Hmm.
That experience alone just really kind of scarred me for life. And he's not the creepiest person in Hollywood, but he definitely is one of them.
Right.
Definitely one of them.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
who's your number one? You have someone in mind who's like King Creeper? I like to always think about Brian Singer. He's like the creepiest dude
Oh
in
yeah,
Hollywood.
Bryan Singer.
Yeah.
I never met him, never had any experiences with him, but yeah, no, isn't it?
You're
Who
not
is he
his type.
represented by? No, no, I'm not his type. I am not. I got through in the clear on that one.
Yeah,
Not his
you may
type.
have been invited to one of his hot tub parties if you were
Oh,
yeah.
I mean, this is the sad part. Is like, honestly, it's gotten better, because they're a little bit more afraid maybe of getting called out, but it hasn't really changed, you know, that much, I would say.
Mm.
Like I'm still hearing, things are happening, which is pretty upsetting. They're just also better at cleaning up now too. Like they're just better at
That's
cleaning it
sad.
up.
That I hate to hear. What was the Ariana Grande thing you were referencing? Was that the feet thing? I remember.
Yes, and it's
Okay.
like her on the edge of the bed, pouring water on her as a teenage girl, and it's like just very webcam-esque, underage girl. And there's even a point where she's like squeezing the potato and asking it to give her juice, and
Ew.
it's so out of line. Like that's what really upsets me too, because apparently Nickelodeon also approved of that, allegedly. And it's just like, well, why are all these people around? I mean, there's so many adults around. Wouldn't someone at some point go, hey, this looks like this, or this is giving me this kind of feel, and I think it's this kid's being exploited right now.
That's what I
No.
wonder too. But I guess people are they're keeping their mouth shut because
Yes.
it's like this is
They want to
just
keep their jobs.
okay. So I have this clip. If you guys don't want to watch it, once again, I encourage you to not watch it. It is just a clip from a kid's show. I mean,
Can't be that bad.
right? There's no audio, I guess, on this. You can bring it up. It's okay.
No one would ever say that. Why? Because if you were soaking wet and you were upset about it, the last thing you'd want is for somebody to bring you the ocean. Because the ocean is even more wet than even the wettest person in the world. Have you ever tried to get your whole big toe in your mouth? Check
Oh
this
yeah,
out.
I saw this. And so apparently he has like a foot thing, right?
Yeah, allegedly.
If you can get
There's no reason for that.
from a potato.
No.
Is it possible for a teenage girl to drink water upside down? I'm thirsty.
That's too much.
Not possible. This has been me.
That's too much.
It's so fucking much, man. It's so out of line. It blows my mind. It blows my mind. And I guess that's why he's in Thailand now and no one can find him.
Whoa. There's old I have some of his old erased tweets. I don't know if you
Oh, yeah. You never seen these?
No. Here's Dan
Oh.
Schneider. Video. Would you like to see Victoria Justice pour ketchup all over her feet? Well, here you go. It's not enough that he's doing it. He needs to share it with all of his friends.
It's ridiculous. And it's called the slap. Like, why is it called the slap? What, any other names to choose, man? That's not creepy and violent?
Here's another one. Pick. Carly tickles Sam's very unusual toes. The fuck did you describe her toes? If you have a moment, will you please name Sam's toes for us? What grown man writes like this anyway?
Please tell me. I want to know.
Who? I mean, some dude who's living in Thailand.
Some dude that's living in Thailand and fitting right in.
Here
Fitting.
is-
There's so many of them. He asked kids around
Oh, no.
US to send. Yes.
This is he made Sam and Cat. I used to watch that show.
Did you really?
Yeah, it was a cartoon, right? Or was
Wait,
that-
no.
Okay, I'm thinking of Dog Cat.
Cat dog.
Cat Dog. I never watched
was
Sam
like,
and Cat.
interesting.
Look at this tweet. Sam and Cat tomorrow. Right on the bottom of your foot. Take a picture and use hashtag Sam and Cat Saturday, and we'll retweet and follow until our fingers get sore. Why the fuck? And I mean, yeah. I'm just gonna, yeah. You could. All the responses are kids' feet with markers on the bottom. It's so fucking vile. Like, what would be the purpose of that? Oh, here's Sam and Cat. Yeah, I didn't know anything about Sam and Cat.
That's Ariana Grande
Right.
and Jeanette McCurdy. And actually that's Jeanette McCurdy is, I mean, I called out a little bit of my personal experience with Dan Schneider in 2019. And then when Jeanette McCurdy came out with her book, and I heard, those allegations, I was like, okay, enough is enough. And no one listened. I mean, when it was a book, all of a sudden people were paying attention. But when it was me, just like, on my Instagram live, obviously, there was no media that gave really an honest fuck about it whatsoever. And so, yeah, her book is really what drove me as a mom, honestly, to Nickelodeon.
Has Ariana Grande ever spoke about this stuff publicly? No, she hasn't.
No, but Dan Schneider tried to get me to, basically sign an NDA
Really?
in 2019.
Oh, recently?
Yeah. I was living in Palm Springs at the time, and it was so strange. I was having a glass of wine. I was just chilling on the couch, and my boyfriend at the time was working at Ace Hotel in Palm Springs, and he texts me and says, "Hey, there's some lawyer calling him and messaging him looking for me." I was like, "What?" I thought it was a scam.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, "No, it seems legit. Like they want to get into contact with you." I said, "Cool. It's all via text message." I was like, "Can you send their contact info over?" And he did. And so I called, and it was some random dude who answered, and I was like, "Hi, it's Alexa Nikolas. Apparently you're looking for me." And here I am. And he goes, "Oh, hi, this is, so and so, and I represent Schneider's Bakery." And I hadn't heard that name in such a long time. Like, I was taken aback. Like,
Wait, what is Schneider's Bakery?
Schneider's Bakery is his production company. That's what he named it.
Okay.
Yeah. Not creepy at all. So yeah, and I was like, "Oh, yes, like what do you want, basically?" And then he goes into saying if I was speaking to any documentary filmmakers about my personal experience with Dan. And I was, honestly, there were some people who were poking around, and I was having a few interactions with them. And so I was honest. I was like, well, I wasn't honest, actually. I said, "It's really none of your business," but yeah, but still none of your business.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, "Well, I would like to know what you're telling them." And I said, "Well, that's definitely,
I bet you would, bitch.
Yes." It's like, and I'm definitely not going to be telling you at all.
Yeah.
Like Dan's like on the three-way call. And so I said, "No, I don't feel comfortable doing that." And then he goes to say, "Well, Dan and I would like to have you come into a room." Once again, it's like, listen, I've been into a room with Dan Schneider. Let me tell you, I'm never going into a room with Dan Schneider again. But he said, "We'd like to come up with some type of agreement together. And if you're open to that, we are," basically. And I was just like, first of all, you're representing a fucking creep, and I wouldn't come up with any type of agreement with this creep. So no, I'm not coming in and doing this weird ass agreement with you guys. And he was like, "Well, if you change your mind, you could always call me back." I was like, "I will not be changing my mind, and please do not call me again." And I hung up the phone. And now, fast forward, all of it did end up coming out, which is wild. But this is while it was starting to build. And so in my personal experience, I don't think I was the only person to get a phone call from Dan Schneider's lawyer. So I don't know how many people he was successful with,
Right. That's a good point. I mean, now, because when people started to feel more comfortable coming out,
Correct.
There's got to be a few people who probably, took the money, and why not?
Right.
I mean, at the end of the day, I can't judge anybody for taking that route either.
No, I mean, honestly, you don't even, there's so many, the power dynamic alone, you just can't blame the person on the other end of that.
Especially if you need the money. And he's like, "Here's $100,000 just to sign this paper and not talk about me."
I know.
Wow. So he knew he was cooked if he was calling everybody up?
Yeah, he was calling me up, and that was the last time I heard from Dan Schneider's Team Dan.
When did he
basically.
disappear?
He disappeared right around that Business Insider article that came out.
Bailed. Wow.
He bailed. Apparently, they got a whole bunch of statements where I think it was from like imaginary friends of Dan that were there to defend him, but off the record, like wouldn't say their names. And anytime that's happening, I'm just sorry, but I don't know if I can honestly buy that there was really anyone defending Dan.
Who cares though, too?
Yeah,
Even if they are
true.
real, it's like, okay,
True. It's true.
you're not
No,
one
it's
of his.
very
You're
true.
not his target.
It's true.
So,
No.